Have you ever met someone who was incredibly smart? They graduated at the top of their class. They always had the right answers. Everyone believed they were destined for success. But years later, they were still struggling to pay their bills, still trapped in the same routine, still wondering why financial freedom never came. Now think about someone else. They weren't the smartest person in the room. They didn't have perfect grades. They didn't even seem particularly talented. Yet somehow, they quietly built a business, invested consistently, and over time became financially free. How is that possible? How can intelligence fail while ordinary people succeed? Most of us grow up believing one simple idea. If I study hard, get a good job, and make smart decisions, money will naturally follow. It sounds reasonable, but reality tells a very different story. Every year, thousands of highly educated professionals earn impressive salaries, yet remain trapped from paycheck to paycheck. At the same time, people with average intelligence quietly build lasting wealth. So what's the difference? It's not luck, it's not talent, and it's certainly not IQ. The real difference lies somewhere far more dangerous, hidden inside the human brain. Because your brain was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you alive. And those two goals are often completely different. Today, we're going to uncover the invisible psychological traps that quietly sabotage even the smartest people. Not because they lack knowledge, but because their minds keep leading them toward comfort instead of wealth. Once you see these traps, you'll start recognizing them in yourself. Imagine asking a classroom full of children a simple question. Who do you think will become rich one day? Most of them would point to the smartest student, the one with perfect grades, the fastest answers, the highest IQ. It feels obvious, because we've been taught to believe that intelligence naturally creates success. But real life doesn't work that way. Look around. How many brilliant people do you know who are constantly stressed about money? How many talented professionals still live paycheck to paycheck? How many people with impressive degrees feel trapped in jobs they no longer enjoy? Now ask yourself another question. How many successful business owners never finished college? How many millionaires struggled in school? Quite a few. This isn't because education is useless. Education is valuable. Knowledge matters. But knowledge alone has never been enough. Financial success follows a completely different set of rules. Money doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you consistently do. That's why two people can read the exact same investing book, listen to the exact same advice, and end up living completely different lives. One starts investing immediately. The other keeps waiting for the perfect moment. One accepts small mistakes and keeps moving forward. The other spends years overthinking every decision. Both are intelligent. Only one becomes wealthy. Psychologists call this the gap between knowing and doing. Most people already know they should save more, invest consistently, avoid unnecessary debt, control emotional spending. They know all of this, yet they don't do it. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because another force is quietly influencing every financial decision they make. A force so powerful that it can override logic itself. That force is human psychology. And before we can build wealth, we first have to understand how our own minds work against us. Most people believe making good financial decisions is simply a matter of discipline. If you spend less, save more, and invest consistently, you'll eventually become wealthy. It sounds simple, so why do millions of intelligent people keep making the same financial mistakes over and over again? The answer is surprisingly simple. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. For almost all of human history, money didn't exist. Stock markets didn't exist. Retirement accounts didn't exist. Our ancestors weren't thinking about compound interest. They were thinking about one thing: survival. Finding food, escaping predators, protecting their families. Every decision the human brain learned to make was optimized for staying alive, not becoming rich. And that ancient operating system still runs inside your head today. Imagine you're walking through a forest thousands of years ago. You suddenly hear something moving in the bushes. Your brain has two choices. Assume it's just the wind, or assume it's a dangerous predator. If you're wrong in the second direction, you waste a little energy running away. But if you're wrong in the first, you don't survive. That's why evolution rewarded caution, not accuracy. Even today, your brain still reacts to uncertainty as if your life depends on it. And that's exactly why investing feels uncomfortable, because uncertainty triggers ancient survival instincts. The stock market drops 20%. Your logical mind says, this is temporary. Your emotional brain screams, run! Not because you're weak, not because you're irrational, but because millions of years of evolution are whispering the same message. Stay safe. Avoid danger. Unfortunately, those instincts that once kept humans alive often keep modern investors poor. Now let's meet another invisible enemy, one that's even harder to defeat: instant gratification. Imagine I give you two choices: $100 right now, or $200 1 year from today. Most people know waiting is the smarter decision. Yet countless studies show a surprising number still choose the money today. Why? Because your brain loves immediate rewards. Every time you buy something new, your brain releases a small burst of dopamine. It feels good. That's why online shopping, social media, fast food, and even checking stock prices every few minutes can become addictive. They all deliver tiny emotional rewards right now. Building wealth works the opposite way. You invest today and often see nothing exciting for months. Sometimes your portfolio even goes down. No applause, no excitement, no instant payoff, just patience. That's exactly why so many people quit too early. Imagine two friends. The first spends $200 on the latest smartphone. The second invests the same amount into a diversified index fund every month. One receives excitement immediately. The other receives almost nothing, except hope. 10 years later, their financial lives look completely different. The first owns old electronics that have lost nearly all their value. The second owns assets that have quietly grown year after year. We often think wealth is built through intelligence, but more often, it's built through delayed gratification. The ability to sacrifice today's pleasure for tomorrow's freedom. That's a skill, not a talent. And the good news is, skills can be trained. Every small financial decision is like casting a vote, not just for your bank account, but for the person you're becoming. There's another trap that quietly destroys more wealth than most market crashes ever will. It's called the fear of looking stupid. Think back to when you first wanted to invest. Maybe you opened a brokerage account, read a few books, watched countless YouTube videos, listened to financial podcasts, and then you waited because you wanted to know just a little bit more. One more book, one more video, one more expert opinion. You told yourself, I'm just being careful. But were you? Or were you simply afraid of making a mistake? Psychologists have a name for this: analysis paralysis. The illusion that more information will eventually eliminate uncertainty. But uncertainty never disappears. Even Warren Buffett can't predict what the market will do next month. No investor can. The difference is, successful investors don't wait for certainty. They build a process. Then they trust it. Imagine two friends, both discover index investing on the same day. The first decides, I'll invest a small amount every month. The second says, I'll wait until I understand everything. 5 years pass. The first investor has already experienced market crashes, recoveries, and the power of compounding. The second is still watching videos, still comparing opinions, still waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment never comes, because perfection is the favorite hiding place of fear. The market doesn't reward people who know the most. It rewards those who are willing to act before they feel completely ready. Action creates experience. Experience creates confidence. Confidence never comes first. It comes later. Now imagine, you finally received the promotion you've been waiting for. Your salary increases. You feel proud. You tell yourself, life is finally getting better. At first, it does. Then, something strange happens. A nicer apartment, a newer car, a better phone, more expensive vacations, better restaurants, higher monthly subscriptions. Without realizing it, your expenses quietly rise at the exact same speed as your income. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest reasons high-income earners often remain financially stressed. The problem isn't that they earn too little, it's that every raise creates a new version of what's considered normal. The luxury that once felt exciting soon becomes an expectation. Then, another upgrade feels necessary. The cycle repeats, again and again. Imagine two co-workers, both receive a $10,000 raise. The first celebrates by buying a luxury car. The second celebrates by increasing automatic investments. 10 years later, their lifestyles look surprisingly similar, but their bank accounts tell completely different stories. One spent money to impress people. The other bought freedom without anyone noticing. That's one of the strangest truths about wealth. Real wealth is often invisible. The biggest house doesn't always belong to the richest person. The loudest success isn't always the strongest success. As investor Morgan Housel once said, wealth is what you don't see. The expensive watch, the luxury car, the designer clothes, those are visible. Financial freedom isn't. It quietly grows behind the scenes. One investment, one decision, one habit at a time. So, if intelligence isn't enough, what separates people who quietly build wealth from those who spend decades chasing it? It's not a secret investment, it's not a magical business idea, and it's certainly not luck. It's how they think when nobody is watching. Most people see money as something to spend. Wealthy people see money as an employee. Every dollar they save is another worker sent out into the world to earn more dollars. At first, that employee works slowly, almost invisibly, but over time, it hires more employees. Then those employees hire even more. This is the quiet power of compounding. It's not exciting, it rarely makes headlines, but it has created more millionaires than any market prediction ever will. Consider Warren Buffett. He didn't become one of the world's richest investors because he found a secret stock. He became wealthy because he allowed time to do the heavy lifting. For decades, he simply stayed invested, ignored the noise, trusted the process, while millions of others kept searching for shortcuts. Charlie Munger once said, "The big money is not in the buying and the selling, but in the waiting." Those words sound simple, but very few people actually live by them. Because waiting feels unproductive. Doing nothing feels uncomfortable. Yet in investing, patience is often the highest form of action. The wealthy don't win because they move faster. They win because they quit less often. Now, here's the good news. Your brain is not your destiny. Yes, it was shaped by evolution. Yes, it craves comfort. Yes, it fears uncertainty. But it can change. Every habit rewires the brain. Every repeated decision creates a stronger pathway. That's why becoming wealthy rarely starts with a bigger paycheck. It starts with a different identity. Instead of asking, "How can I make more money?" try asking, "What kind of person naturally builds wealth?" That person doesn't panic during market crashes, doesn't buy things to impress strangers, doesn't wait for the perfect moment. They build systems. They automate good decisions. They remove temptation. They think in decades instead of days. Little by little, their behavior changes. Then, their financial future changes. The transformation never happens overnight. It happens one ordinary decision at a time. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. There are two versions of you. The first kept following instinct, chasing quick rewards, waiting for certainty, spending every raise, believing that intelligence alone would eventually lead to wealth. The second version made hundreds of small decisions that nobody noticed, invested consistently, stayed patient, ignored the noise, kept learning, trusted time. Today, those two lives look nothing alike. Not because one person was smarter, but because one person learned to master the only investment that truly matters, their own mind. Remember this, money doesn't care how intelligent you are. The market doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards behavior, repeated behavior. So the next time your brain tells you to wait, to panic, or to chase the next shiny opportunity, pause for a moment. Ask yourself one simple question. Is this decision coming from fear or from the future I'm trying to build? Because the greatest investment you will ever make isn't in a stock, or a business, or even real estate. It's in becoming the kind of person who can hold on to great decisions long enough for time to change everything. Thank you for watching. If this video changed the way you think about money, consider sharing it with someone who believes intelligence alone is enough to build wealth. And if you want to master not only investing, but also the psychology behind financial freedom, subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the market, it's the person looking back at you in the mirror.